from Group 1, and the members are me, Anugrah, Dwian, Andari, and my friends are Muhammad Maksum, Rangkuti, and Muhammad Maulana. Today, we want to tell you about the Ferdinand Saussure. Okay, for the first, I want to tell you about the summary of Ferdinand de Saussure. Ferdinand de Saussure, he was born 26 November 1857 in Geneva, Switzerland, and died on 22 February 1913 in age 55 in Switzerland. And he from alma mater in University of Geneva, University with a PhD 1880 University of Berlin, era 19th century philosophy. And he graduated from the school and took the major the Structuralism, Linguistic Turn, Semiotics, Institute APHE University of Geneva for main interest in linguistics. Ferdinand de Saussure, he was a Swiss linguistic, semioticist, and philosopher. His ideas laid the foundation for many significant developments in linguistics and semiotics in the 20th century. He widely considered to be one of the founders of 20th century linguistics and one of the two main founders, along with Charles Sanders Peirce, of semiotics or semiology as it. Okay, Saussure calls it. Yeah, Ferdinand de Saussure, he usually calls with the name of Saussure. Okay, next I want to tell you about the biography and the way of his life. Saussure was born in Geneva in 1857. His father was Henry Louis Frederick de Saussure. He is a mineralogist. His father is a mineralogist, entomologist, and taxonomist. Saussure began to show signs of considerable intellectual talent and ability from the age of 14 in the fall of 1870. He began attending the institutions Martin, or formerly institution Le Culture, until 1969 in Geneva. There, he lived with his classmates' family. Her name is Ellie David, and he graduating in the upper class. Saussure hoped to continue his studies at the Gymnase de Geneva, but his father decided that he was not mature enough at the age of 14 and half, and sent him instead to the College de Geneva.
The education and his career. After a year studying Latin, Ancient Greek, and Sanskrit, and taking various courses at the University of Geneva, he began postgraduate work at the University of Leipzig in 1876. Ferdinand de Saussure is one of the world's most quoted linguists, which is remarkable because he himself published almost nothing during his lifetime. Even some of his scientific articles are not without problems. Saussure, who has studied some basic Lithuanian grammar in Leipzig for one semester. 2 years later, at the age of 21, Saussure published a book entitled Mémoires sur les systèmes primitifs des voyelles dans les languages Indo-Europeans, or we can call it as Dissertation of Primitive Vocal System, Indo-European Language. After that, he studied for a year at the University of Berlin under private docent Heinrich Zimmer, with whom he studied Celtic, and Hermann Oldenburg, with whom he continued his studies about Sanskrit. It wasn't until 1907 that Saussure began teaching the general linguistics course, which he offered 3 times, and it ending in summer of 1911. He died in 1913 in Pfalz, Le Château, Vaud, Switzerland.
His lecture on the essential principle of language description in Geneva between 1907 and 1911 were collected and published by his student posthumously in the famous course The Linguistic General. In 1916, several of his manuscripts, including an unfinished essay discovered in 1996, were published in writing. Conclusion about Ferdinand de Saussure. His profession as a linguist, educational scientist, sociologist, and a philosopher in his career expressing ideas and theories about linguistics and semiology, psychology, sociology, and anthropology in the 20th century, and writing theories and that can help linguists at the time. That with his work in 1926, namely Cours de Linguistique Generale, B has made him the originator or pioneer of modern linguistic studies.